Hey everybody, welcome to the show today. This is Dr. Levi with your show, The Dr. Levi Show. Today is January the 25th, 2017. Beautiful but chilly day here in Los Angeles. So I hope wherever you are, you're making it a great day. Remember, the weather is really interesting. I often tell people, even if it's cold outside, remember to keep the warmth in your heart. Remember to be nice to people, to be kind to people. No matter how cold it is, it doesn't give you an excuse to not treat people with love, respect, and kindness, and more importantly, to not judge anyone else. Because as I've said before, when you're pointing the finger of judgment at someone, there are three fingers pointing right back at you. So I want to welcome you to the show today. Again, I'm Dr. Levi. We have a special show planned for you today. And this year, we're going to do something very, very different. We're going to have one show per month dedicated to women and specifically dedicated to the empowerment of women. So we're going to really celebrate the goddesses that walk among us. You know, I think it's so important that we really look at how we treat women, how we do what we can to improve their lives because they do so much, and more importantly, how we can make sure that there's equity in the work market, meaning that women are paid just as much as men are paid for what they do. There should not be a market whereby whatever a guy does, like myself, then a counterpart, a woman who gets 60 or 70% on the dollar. Well, why? She's doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. So I think it's so important that we talk about the need to have equity in the workplace, equity in general and in life. Women should be treated appropriately and just as equals, period. Now, this is a real historic weekend, I should say. This was the Women's March. The Women's March, of course, was around the world. I mean, from Berlin to Canada, throughout the U.S. and Chicago, Los Angeles, New York. It was extraordinary. Well, here in Los Angeles, I went to the march. I got to tell you, it really allowed for myself to see how you can have a group of people galvanized together to really want to bring about an appropriate constructive change. It was phenomenal. When I was there, looking and listening to people, hearing the talks, but more importantly, just being in that energy of people saying that it's so important that women are respected and treated appropriately. It was phenomenal. That's all I can tell you. I think it has prompted a spark throughout the world to make sure that women are treated appropriately. It was just, wow, I can't say anything. Well, I have to tell you about an interesting event that happened when I was there, though. So I just got I have the Spartan race coming up on Sunday out in Lake Elsinore. And my team and I from Phoenix Effect Gym here in Los Angeles will be going to do that. And I'm sure there'll be at least 50 or 60 plus of us who participate in the race. So the race, the run that we're doing is the Spartan race. It's 4.9-mile run and about 20 obstacles. So it's pretty intense, but we're all fit and ready to roll with it. So when I was there for the march, I was there for about an hour and a half, and a gentleman walks up to me and he says, hey, bro, what size shoes you wear? So I look at him, I say, I wear a size 9.5, 10. He says, oh, okay, look at me. And then he points to his feet, and he had no shoes. So I started talking to him, and he said, I'd really like to have some shoes today. And I said, I understand. So he kept talking to me. So finally, I took off my shoes, and I gave him my shoes. So I was at the walk for about a half an hour after that, and then I walked back to my car in my socks. By the time I got back to my car, my socks were about as black as the headphones I'm wearing. It was unbelievable. But I felt good because this was a homeless guy that really had nothing, and his feet were bare, and I felt like I felt like it was the right thing to do. That's what I felt like. Yeah, I felt it was the right thing to do. And I feel like I'm blessed to have so much, thank God. So I thought, you know what, Levi? You're going to do the right thing, and you're going to give this guy your shoes. And when I was doing this, I was thinking to myself, I thought I'd gone there for the Women's March, but I guess in the end, I'd really gone there to give someone some shoes who was barefoot. So it was an empowering moment for me because it reminds me that to whom much is given, much is required, that we have to give back. And we have to give back even when it doesn't feel good. And for me, it was so interesting because I only had the shoes on for about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. And I was thinking, God, I love the way they feel. They'll be broken in by the race on Sunday. And And then they were gone. But it's okay. So the good thing is that someone now who had no shoes has shoes. That's a good thing. Now, I want to also tell you about the march. The march also gave me a chance to really listen to what people were saying about why they were marching. I really asked quite a few people, why are you here? And over they kept saying just continually that we have to have resistance, that things that are happening in the country right now are not correct, that they're not equitable, they're not appropriate, they're not good for America, they're not good for the world. And they were clear that they were there in solidarity to say that, you know what, we want to make a change. We want to do something to elevate America, to make America sane again. It was very, very intense. I was just taken back by the power of the people that were there. And don't forget, for Saturday, here in Los Angeles, there are about 750,000 people. It was really, it was an experience. That's what I can say. It was uplifting for me. As a man, specifically as a man of color, it really reminded me of the power of the march, the power of sticking together, the power of saying that something is not correct, it's not working. Well, what do? Are you part of the problem or are you part of the solution? What do you do? Well, I think we all have to stand up. We have to stand up and make a difference. We have to stand up and say that, misogyny and tyranny and racial prejudice and sexual discrimination and lack of inclusivity will not be tolerated in this country, which is a country built on the mentality of immigrants. The only native people here are the Native Americans. That's it. Everybody else, we came over on a boat or a ship, but we didn't just simply appear, So I really want to say that the march was empowering. I want to really say that it was great to be there. And now I want to tell you about our show. So this show is the Empowerment Hour for Women. It's a show that it's really about women. It's about talking about what they do, why they do it. It's about their victories, their challenges, about what they're doing to make life better for their families, for their communities. It's really a show about change. So I'm so happy today that this show will really, I believe, will lift everyone up. It will give them an opportunity to say that, you know what, wow, if they can do it, then I'm encouraged to do it. If they can do it, then I'm encouraged to make my life better. This year, of course, like many years, so often we're talking about one major resolution. That's the number one resolution I would say that I hear in my office from my patients is, Dr. Levi, what can I do this year to lose weight? I want to lose weight, but more importantly, I want to lose it and I want to keep it off. And I tell them over and over when it comes to weight loss, it's 85% diet, 15% exercise. So often I remind people, even if you never exercise, even though I'm not advocating this, so I want to put that disclaimer there. I advocate that you exercise every day. But if you never exercise and ate properly and portion controlled, you would still lose weight. Because don't forget, if it's not there, it's not going to turn into carbohydrates or fat. It's just not there for that event to happen. So it's so important that we watch what we eat, because I've said on this show many, many times, you are what you eat, drink, and smoke. How could you be anything else? That's what you put in the system. So the system only builds on the building blocks that you give it, period. So today, I want to tell you about our phenomenal, as Maya Angelou would say, I want to tell you about 3 phenomenal women. Women that are really about making their lives better, about making their communities better, and more importantly, about starting with the number one. We always have to start with ourselves for self-improvement. No matter how much we may love our families, our partners, our spouses, the wives, the husbands, no matter how much you may love them, all change really starts from within. You have to remind yourself that you're beautiful from the inside out. You don't have to put on the makeup and all this stuff on the outside. No. You're beautiful from the inside out. And the other thing that's so important is that, we don't need validation as a man or as the great 3 women that are here with me today from anyone. We don't need somebody to tell us that we're phenomenal, that we're great. We already know that we are, period, because we were born, that we're alive, that we're awake. By simply being, that is enough. By simply being, that is enough. No one has to validate us. And I want to tell you, the 3 women that I have today will do this. They'll definitely validate your feelings about what it is to be fit, about what it is to lose weight, about what it is to not only lose weight, but to keep it off. And they will really show you that they're not only beautiful from the outside, they're beautiful from the inside, or what they did, or what they accomplished. Because as they'll tell you, when it comes to losing weight is not a joke. Losing weight takes commitment. It takes consistency, and it takes the ability to be in the zone, to say, I am going to work out. I am going to watch my diet no matter what. No matter what my family's eating, no matter what my friends are eating or smoking, I'm not going to do that. I will take the road less traveled, as the book written by Scott Peck. I will take the road that's only meant for me, my individual journey. So today, I want these three phenomenal women to tell you about their journeys about health, their journeys about fitness, and their journeys about weight loss. So I want to welcome to the show Laura Morales. Thank you, Laura, for being with us. I want to also thank Martha Gallardo. I'm learning Spanish right now, so I tried to say that nice, all right? And I want to welcome Miss McNeill, who's also with us today, Micah McNeill. Thank you so much for being with us. It's wonderful to have you back on the show, because we had your wonderful daughter on the show talking about her experience being bullied and how she overcame that with such extraordinary courage. Yeah. She really is a trend maker. She is leading the pack of why bullying is not okay, and why you can't be a bystander, and why you can't be bullied, and why you can't simply be okay with the bully. None of that is okay. Right. Your daughter's phenomenal. So I want to thank you for being back on the show with us. Okay, well, Martha, Laura, and Miss McNeill, we have a lot to talk about. So let's start with you, Martha. I want to hear about your story. I want to know where you're from, and I want to know about your weight loss journey. Martha?
Okay. Actually, my story started a year ago.
Yes.
My life was transformed. I've lost 95 pounds.
Congratulations.
And
wow.
I just feel amazing.
I'm amazing.
A brand new person. Thank you very much. Brand new person. It's not only like transformed my physical appearance,
yes,
but I think more it's transformed the way I think and the way I approach everybody else now.
Yes.
It's just, there's like really no words I can tell you to tell you how it's beyond awesome, the way I feel, and the way just people like, you know, tell me that I inspire them and that, you know, they want to do it now because they see I was able to do it.
Yes.
And it wasn't the easiest journey,
right? But
it wasn't, it was so well worth it.
Absolutely.
I think it was worth it. Every sacrifice, everything that, you know, I gave up eating, everything, you know, it was totally worth it for me. And I feel blessed to just be full of life and energy, and just, you know, inspiring others and being able to help others also.
Absolutely. I want to know, what was the trigger for you when you said, enough, I need to do this for me? I want to hear about what was that one thing that you heard, said, did, or was exposed to that you said that you went inside Martha Gallardo and you said, you know what, this is the last day of this. I want to make a change. What was that trigger?
Actually, there's a picture, my before and after picture.
Yes.
And that picture was taken at a wedding.
Yes.
And I actually, that's when I realized I just couldn't be that big anymore. That picture was just like not the person I wanted to be.
Yes.
So when I saw that picture, it just totally like told me, you have to change.
Absolutely.
There has to be something there has to be something that's going to work for you. And thank God I found something that worked for me. I sacrificed, and, you know, I was thinking, oh, I'm not going to have enough money, you know, the little chatter that goes on in your head, or I'm not going to be able to do it. And then I said, no, that's it. I'm going to do it.
Wow. It's so extraordinarily powerful that you said this is it. That one picture was the trigger to say enough. It wasn't a spouse, it wasn't a child, it was you giving yourself the message that I need to move on.
Yes.
That is so powerful.
Yes.
Martha, it shows how and how extraordinary you are, and how strength does come from within to without. You know, you have to start on the inside, making that decision, and then you do the work. What was the hardest thing on your journey, you'd say, to keep the weight off, to really stay focused about your journey?
Actually, I think the hardest part was all the different food around me and stuff like that was there. So it's in your mind. Actually, I tell people you have the power to say no and to make a wiser choice.
Yes.
A lot of people will think, you know, oh no, you know, I can't do it, and they'll try, you know, they'll give up and they'll have it. And I think that was the hardest part, just having food around me. But then I was stronger than that.
Yes.
So I think everything that, and I kept thinking what was my main focus, and my focus was like to lose the weight. And I had a goal, and I had to reach that goal.
Right.
And so that kept giving me strength, and the dropping the weight just kept giving me more and more and more strength.
To do it.
Yes. So I think, you know, food, of course, it's a trigger to anyone.
Well, you know, I often tell people, you know, when I give talks about fitness, health, and well-being, that food is the only true legal drug. We have access to it. There is no one's going to say you can't have this. No matter how much we eat of it, it's free. And for many people, I always say it really is a drug, because it can trigger things that are very deep emotional. It can trigger things about, you know, how you were treated as a child, you know, people who were molested as children, people who were taken advantage of, who were not really loved by their parents, who were abused by a brother or sister or uncle or aunt. You know, it can trigger a lot of things about just surrounding themselves for comfort and for protection. Yes. So I think when we finally see that protection comes from within, you're already protected. You got it covered. You got the courage to do anything you want to do, and you're magnificent just the way you are. So now to go in and have that courage to sustain it, I celebrate you. I celebrate you. I honor you. I say, job well done.
Thank you very much.
I really mean it. Because I know, in having so many patients I take care of who are on a weight loss journey, it's not an easy thing. It's very tough, you know, because often you don't have family that's supporting you. They want the old you. They want the you that was the way they remember you. And so when you go through these transformations, often they don't really lift that up. They don't really say, oh, great job, mommy, a great job, sister, a great job, daughter. They just want you as where you are. But as my dad said, and I believe this is true, if we're not losing friends and family, then we're not really growing. You know, and sometimes the people that we love the most are not the best for us. So often when we let those things go, we can really, really soar and fly and be liberated, not only of themselves, but be liberated of the old us, be liberated of those people that hold us down. You know, I said earlier on the show this year that we have to really go through our Rolodex, our contacts, block, delete, and get rid of people that don't contribute to our lives. It takes courage to do that. But just like you had the courage to lose the weight, which you've done like a champion that you are, I believe we have to do that with people in our lives. We have to champion ourselves and say, you know what? You're not really working for me. This doesn't work. So I got to say bye, bye, bye. You know, this is not working, you know? So I just want to thank you, Martha. I mean, so happy to have you here. When the producer of the show, my manager, Janet Rodriguez, when she said that she was going to have you on as one of our guests, I was elated because she talked about your story, and I thought, wow, we're going to have 3 women like that talking. I said, it's gonna rock L.A., if not the country. It's just fantastic. So thank you. I really mean it. Well, Micah, let's hear about your story. Let's hear about your journey.
Mine was pretty similar. It started with the picture. I mean, I had all 3 of my kids, and when you have kids, you're not taking pictures of yourself. You're taking pictures of your kids.
Yes.
So you don't see them as much, but I got a Mother's Day photo shoot, took pictures with the kids, did not recognize myself, and realized that, you know, I wanted to change. I was already working out at the time, but, you know, I wasn't seeing any changes. So finally, I was the PT president at my kids' school, and it was going to be my last year as president. I decided, my cousin had a weight loss challenge that summer, and we were like, let's do it. I'm like, I'm in, I'll win. And my cousin, or my niece actually, she decided to work out with me at the gym and became my trainer. And next thing I know, the weight was just falling off. Fantastic. And I made a few changes here and there as far as my diet. because I cook for my family, so I'm already cooking all the time.
Yes.
It was the fast food and
Yes.
the not drinking water and not eating breakfast. And
Yes.
since our bodies are 75% water, you got to put in mostly water during the day. So I started drinking a gallon of water daily, and it just flushed my system, and then my body was able to take on all that working out that I did and all the changing of my diet, and just everything changed. My hair, my attitude, everything.
Fantastic. No, what do you think was the greatest challenge as you were actually losing weight? What was the most difficult thing to overcome?
Getting the time, because it takes time. Like
Yes.
you start working out and you want to see those pounds drop off in the beginning, and they won't. And it's going to take at least 6 to 8 weeks before you see it on yourself. And then another 2 months, 3 months before people see it on you. But once that happens, it is so rewarding.
Right.
And, you know, and I didn't do it for looks or health, because perfect blood pressure, everything.
Yes.
It was just a change. I wanted a change.
Right.
I wanted to see what it felt like to be
fit.
below a size 10.
Yes,
Like, you know, and
yes.
it was all fun. It was great. And, you know, but yeah, that was the biggest challenge, was getting through that time.
Well, what about your children? What do they think of you now when they see that mommy has made this amazing transformation? What do they think of it?
It makes them want to be fit as
Yes.
well. And so, because they were part of my journey, I wasn't going to say, okay, you guys are going to eat In-N-Out, mommy's going to eat a salad. We all ate the same thing together. And it was a family journey, I should say. And so we all kind of just did it together. My girls were really supportive when I'd have to go to the gym, whether they came with me or if we weren't going to the gym, it was, let's go for a walk, Mom. So it became a family
event.
Yes.
No, the great thing about that, when the family's involved, then there's what I call family accountability. Because everybody's looking at what everybody's eating. Okay, mommy doesn't want to work out. Well, mommy, you don't want to go to the gym. Can we go for a walk?
Yes.
Well, mommy, let's not have these fried products. Why don't we have something that's baked instead, or something that's broiled, or something that is not out of a can?
Yes.
You know, so the great thing I think that's so important about fitness is that, you know, you don't have to be a multi-billionaire to be fit.
Right.
And in fact, there are a lot of multi-billionaires who are not very fit, because it takes discipline to be fit. Yeah. It takes focus to say, I am committed to myself no matter what. If my father or friend or lover or partner, they don't want to go with me, that's okay. I wake up with me every day. I'm going to take me to the gym. I'm gonna eat properly. I'm going to not eat that thing that looks really good that I have to work off for like 7 hours. You know? So I think it's great that you had your whole family involved in the journey, because that's not easy, because you have to recruit them. If they are resentful and don't want to do it, it takes a lot, even as a parent, to get people on that healthy boat to being fit. Just fantastic, Micah. Just you and Martha are just champions. And the other champion, the other Wonder Woman on stage today, of course, is Laura Morales. So Laura, let's hear about your amazing story. And how much weight did you lose again?
I'm up to 84 pounds right now.
Wow, that is just amazing. 84 pounds.
84
How did you do it?
Well, mine did not start with the picture, because I'm a makeup artist, so I am never in front of the camera.
Yes.
Mine started being on set, and I had to do a wedding shoot on a beach.
Yes.
And I had to carry all my products from the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill.
Yes.
And the loss of breath is what got me. That day I was like, I should not have to breathe this hard to go up and down the stairs to carry products for a photo shoot.
Right.
So that's what did it for me. And I had heard about dieting. I had heard about the 80-20 or the 85-15.
Yes.
And I was going to the gym. I had a trainer. I was going to the gym 5 days a week, 2 hours a day.
Wow.
But I had no results.
None.
But what I found is that I was drinking my calories. So I was one of those people that was having the tall drinks in the morning.
Yes.
And so I learned, I studied, and I decided, well, I'm going to do the 80-20.
Right.
And that's how it started. I didn't start being consistent. I started very slow.
Right.
And
but slow is okay, Because the great thing about slow, it's sustainable. So often some of my patients, they'll come in, they will lose, someone who's 30 pounds in about 2 months. I often tell them it will come back with friends, company, and family. So it's so important when you lose weight. One thing the science has shown is that to lose no more than about 2 pounds per week, to have it safely leave and hopefully safely sustained away. However, too quick, the body really wants to adjust and accommodate and say, well, let me hold on to everything else so the weight doesn't come off as easily. And I love the fact that you said that you were drinking your calories, because the other thing that research shows is that if you drink one sugary beverage like a can of soda a day, just one a day, not 3 or 4, one a day, you will gain 16 pounds a year. Now think about people who drink 3 or 4 a day, still go to the gym, but still are gaining weight, even though their diet they think is okay. Right. You said it really well. You can't ingest and drink the calories. You have to be, what I often talk about is mindful eating. Be mindful of what you eat. Without any guilt, we all fall off sometime. When you do, that's okay. Just remember you have to work a little harder and to not repeat that mistake every day. We have to be consistent and focused about it. Now, what does your family think of this major transformation for you? Because 85 pounds, that is a tremendous, phenomenal achievement.
They are really happy. They're amazed. In the beginning, they were kind of skeptical because I've done every diet in the book. Yes. I've worked out, and they were like, they support me because they're my family.
Right.
But they were like, okay, we'll watch you for a minute, and then we'll get on track with you. But I'm happy to say that both of my sisters are actually joining me in this weight loss.
Now you see, it's very similar to McNeill, that you have the family they see, and then they're like, I want to get some of this too. This looks good, like a good thing to get involved with. Now, what about David and Crystal, your kids? What do they think about this journey?
Well, my son is like, he's always been tall and slender, so he doesn't really have a weight problem.
Yeah.
But he's like, I support you, Mom. I'm with you. And my daughter, she's with me in the same journey. We're all doing it together.
This is great. When you can get the family motivated to do this, it'll Thanksgiving won't be the same.
Right.
Christmas and quinceañeras and birthdays and holidays and baptism, it won't be the same, because when you walk in, trust me, they will look at you and say, oh, Laura's coming. We don't want her to see us eating this. Well, let's not have this. Let's have at least salad for her. Because it will remind other people that if you can do it, so can they. But it takes discipline and it takes behavioral modification to not be around the triggers, to eat before you go to the party, to maybe go with the thought that I'm going to only have one drink if I drink at all, to go with the thought that no matter what they're serving, I'm not going to have any gravy on anything. I'm not going to have any white rice or pasta or white bread or cookies, cakes, or ice cream. It takes a lot to say it, though. It takes even more to do it,
right.
Because as the three of you know, it's about action. And Martha, you did it also. I mean, you said, hey, this picture, who is this person? I want to be someone different. Not necessarily better, I just want to be different. And as Michaela said, I want to make a change. I want to make a shift. Now I want to hear from all of you. What are your goals and plans to have this as a sustained journey, as a sustained goal, so that you don't go back to maybe old eating patterns or go back to things that trigger you? I want to know, what are your goals to be focused, to make this a lifestyle, not simply let me do it for this year, let me do this for the rest of my life. Michaela, I'd like to hear your thoughts about that.
I realize that it's a lot about talking about it, because the weight didn't come on overnight, and so I know that it didn't fall off overnight, and I know that it came on with issues. So as long as I talk about the issues that I know might make me sad or make me want to eat something, then keeping my lines of communication open helped me to stay on track and keep myself accountable. So I will talk if I'm having a bad day. I make sure I talk about it so yes. I don't get emotional and eat emotionally.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah, and I just remind myself that this is a lifestyle.
Yes.
This isn't for a season. This is my lifestyle.
Yes.
This is the life that I want to lead, so I'm going to do it every day. And
Absolutely.
it's not, I don't go to the gym every day because sometimes I get busy, but I make up for it either with what I eat or the next day by working a little bit harder. So.
Way to go. I salute you. I celebrate you. What about yourself, Martha? What are your plans to make sure it stays like this?
I think my biggest plan for my weight loss to keep dropping, because I need to lose another 40 pounds, would be to continue eating healthy, of course.
Yes.
And since now I have the energy to be able to walk more,
yes,
actually go salsa dancing,
bachata
dancing,
good,
all
great.
of that.
Right.
I have so much more energy.
Yes.
I can, keep doing it. And like you said, it's a life change. It's not just, let me do this and go back to my old habits. It's
right.
about learning the habits. And I think my program did a really good job on teaching me that. So I think I have the habits now
right.
in place, and I know what I need to do. So, I mean, I just have to do it. And,
absolutely.
And I have to know that if I don't do it, then I'm going to go back to the old me, the person in the picture.
Right.
And I don't want that. Of course, it's determination.
Yes.
Along with discipline, like
yes.
you said, and pushing forward.
Yes.
Yes.
I love the fact that you say that. You just said is that the building blocks have been laid now. So now
mm-hmm.
you're simply constructing your life to where you want. Every day is a step in the right direction so you
mm-hmm.
can have sustained benefits of being healthy, being fit, and having this as a lifestyle.
Yes.
It's fantastic, Martha. I mean, you and Micah and Laura, you guys are just on it. What about yourself, Laura? I mean, what for you, Miss Morales, is going to keep you in that place of having this as a sustained way that you live?
Well, I've actually been on this journey for 3 years. It'll be 3 years in April. So I've sustained the weight loss.
Yes.
Now I'm actually trying to build muscle.
Yes.
Because muscle will burn fat faster.
Yes, it does.
And I'm actually surrounded by a community that will motivate me. Not just physically, they're mentally motivating. There's a lot of powerful women, just as these two ladies here.
Yes, they are.
But they're motivating me all the time, and they're supporting me. So you are who you hang around with.
This is so true. Yes.
And
as you're talking like that, I want to know also from you, Martha, and I want to hear from the rest of the ladies here on our panel is, when you guys were really heavy, did you guys ever feel a sense of being bullied or being discriminated against when you were heavier? Did that ever happen to you, Martha?
It did.
It did.
To me, it did, yes. Actually, funny story, I used to walk into a nightclub, being
yes.
276 pounds.
Yes.
And I was very confident.
Right.
Nobody ever knew I was inside dying and I wanted to, be a different person.
Yes.
So I used to walk in, people used to stare at me like, okay. And I know a lot of guys that are like show artists,
yes.
like show dancers, I mean.
Yes, yes.
And so they used to take me out to dance and people were looking at me like, yeah, right, she's not going to dance,
Right.
We're going to see. I used to get down.
Right, exactly.
But,
exactly.
but just the looks of people, like, looking at
it.
me like, she's not going to be able to dance. And then as I was dancing, like, people were like.
Really?
Yeah, so it was uncomfortable.
Right.
And now I blend in with everybody.
Right.
So now I walk in somewhere and I kind of blend in. I don't stand out. And some people used to, applaud me. And I was like, oh, they think I wasn't able to be able to do it. That's why they're, actually clapping.
Right.
But you could tell by the looks of people, like they were always like, wow,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always ask questions like that because I know for myself as a kid growing up, I was a heavy kid. And not really fit until I had I always call it my epiphany moment when I thought, what, I'm not gonna stay like this. Things got to change. But I do remember how people treated me when I was that little as some of my friends would call me, the little fat pudgy kid. I remember those feelings, and now as an adult, as a man, still it still doesn't feel good when I think about that. And that was 30 plus years ago, but I still have those thoughts of how people treated me when I walked in, or when I was getting clothes, or if I wanted to go to a party, or if I didn't get invited to a party because of how I looked, or because of so I those things are I guess not as painful, but we never forget that. We never forget how people really treat us. We don't forget. What about yourself, Micah?
I was just thinking about how I've been lucky enough to not have to feel like that because of my weight. And I think I put more of the issues on about putting myself down myself when I would go shopping for clothes and things like that, of that nature. But I can't think of a time where anyone ever made me feel uncomfortable. I was always very active, a swimmer, a dancer, everything. So a lot of it I think looked like muscle. And not so much. I don't know though. But I was lucky to not ever have to feel like my weight was hindering me
at all.
Yeah,
or that people discriminated
or at
against
least
you.
That people were discriminating against me because I was hindering myself enough with it.
Right. So you always look at it almost sound like that you were your own internal judger about it versus anybody else.
Yeah, and I do that with most things. I don't let other people affect how I feel about things. I go with how I feel inside, and I let how I feel inside dictate who I'm going to be as a person. So if my weight did affect other people, it never affected me. I didn't feel it.
You didn't feel that.
Yeah.
I tell you, all three of you are extraordinarily powerful women. I mean, I look at you three as like these three goddesses among us here who are really about peace and power and about productivity, determination, and more importantly about reaching goals and sustaining them. It's one thing to get to a place. It's like wealth. A lot of people can get wealth, but can you maintain it? The same with weight. You can lose the weight, but can you maintain it? And you guys have maintained it. What about yourself? I want to hear you, Ms. Morales. What was a situation where you felt bullied or discriminated against when you were heavier, or did you ever feel that?
I did feel it a couple of times when, as a makeup artist, you have to work in like very cramped spaces. So you have about maybe 3, 4, 5 makeup artists. So they would kind of look at me like, you might not be able to fit with them. They would not say anything, but they'll be like, okay, let's set you up somewhere on the other side, or but that was kind of the only time I'm with Micah. I really didn't let other people dictate how I was feeling, but I was my own worst enemy.
Right.
So I've learned to develop my growth and listen to personal development and be around phenomenal women that uplift me, and
absolutely
they just make me grow.
Right. I think it's so important. When I was telling one of my sisters I was going to have this type of show, she said it's also important that you even ask the question of, how do other women react to you now that haven't seen you for a long time? I want to hear about that, because my sister, she made a very intense statement that often women will judge other women more intensely than any guy can. And then she said, but the bottom line, Levi, she said, women will judge themselves more than anybody else. So I want to hear you all. I want to hear your thoughts about that. So what are your thoughts, Martha?
Actually, I get a lot of women actually tell me that I'm an inspiration. So
Great.
I get like the positive feedback. Of course, I know there's a couple of, people
haters
on my Facebook that see my before and after that will never make a comment, that will never hit the like button. And I know deep down inside, they're probably like, oh, like, gosh, she did it, because I always tried to do it. I was always trying to be active and always trying to lose weight, but nothing ever worked. So finally it worked.
Exactly.
And now I show off,
Exactly.
Here's my
and
before and after.
Exactly. You should.
Right? And I'm posting stuff about being healthy and just, and I know they don't hit it, but I know they're there and they could see it, and I know,
they're aware.
yeah, they're aware. It's fine. It's fine. We don't need everybody to like it.
Exactly.
It's your own person.
You got it. Exactly.
Yes.
I was going to say, you already hit the like button for yourself. You actually hit the love button for yourself.
Yes.
So if they don't hit it, it's okay.
Yes.
I always find it amazing that, especially with human beings, that no matter how great you can accomplish some things in your life, how wonderful you may do things, there are still some people who will not say, fantastic, congratulations. They cannot do it. And I believe they can't do it because they don't love themselves enough to do it. It's not about what we do. They don't love themselves enough to say, great job, or even thank you. How many people actually, those two words are very powerful, just thank you. But because they don't think or like themselves, how can they give you what they don't have in themselves? They don't have it. So I love that statement. They don't hit the like button, but you already hit the love button for yourself, so it's done. What about yourself, Micah?
I had somebody tell me that they thought I had surgery. They're like, there's no way you worked it off.
Really?
Which, yeah, and it was funny. I laughed because I thought, it's not that serious. First of all, I'm not that old, and it's not that big of a deal. But she's like, I thought you had surgery, and I was like, well, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and
jeez, unbelievable.
My husband became a lot more protective too.
Of course,
because we would go out, and I just looked like a whole different
person,
commodity. Yeah,
right. But isn't it interesting though that someone would make the judgment call that you can't do it naturally, you must have did it with surgical intervention. But again, they're transferring to you what they would have done for themselves. So it really wasn't about you. It's them thinking that little of themselves. You guys are very powerful. I mean, to keep pushing like that and to not care what people think, we have to be in that place, because it's never important, I think, what people think of us, but it is important we think of ourselves. That's the ticket. What about for yourself, Laura?
I'm in the same boat. All my family thought I had surgery.
Did they really?
They thought I had surgery, and they thought I had a facelift because my skin and my hair and my nails have changed. And, I'm a 45-year-old woman with a 25-year-old daughter.
With a 25-year-old face, too. I wish everyone could be here right now, because these three women in front of me, that not only incredible, flawless skin, complexions, eyes, bodies, just amazing. And their spirit, they have this room on fire right now, because it's such a vibe of love and self-acceptance. So it's so interesting that your family thought that, Laura.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and I just recently, actually, like 2 months ago, I saw an old boss that I hadn't seen for 9 years.
Yes.
And she walked up to me and she was like, I thought you were your daughter, because she met my daughter when she was little.
Wow.
And she said, I was going to tell you to tell your mom hello. And I was like, no, it's me.
No, it's me.
And she was like, and she did give me a really big compliment. She's like, I'm shocked. She goes, you have actually not aged. You've actually gone backwards.
Wow, fantastic.
So it was nice of her.
I tell you, just hearing stories like this, I believe can truly, from all three of you, Laura, Martha, and Micah, really will motivate people, men and women, to say, hey, if you have a goal, there's nothing that can stop you from reaching that goal but you. But you have to do the work. You have to be consistent. And the word that you use, Martha, that I love, you have to have determination. You have to say, I am going to do this. If it's raining, if it's cold, if it's snowing, if it's wet, if someone goes with me or not, I'm going to take care of myself. And the three of you have done that without any apologies. And I love the fact that as all of you were talking, none of you had, what I really appreciate, any feelings of guilt. Like, I've done this, now I've lost the weight, and people treat me badly. Well, maybe I should gain more weight so they can love me more. No way. You're doing it for you all. You're doing it for yourselves. It's just fantastic. It's just fantastic. I just celebrate all three of you. Now, Micah, and your thoughts, I'd like to hear, if you could give someone like 2 or 3 specific things to say or do, what would you say that is to really make sure that they continue to keep the weight off?
I would just say that you got to just daily you got to take it day by day.
Yes.
Because every day is going to present a new challenge. So you
Yes.
got to take it day by day, and you got to drink that water, and
Yes.
day by day, and lots of water.
Lots of water.
Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it, Micah. What about yourself, Martha? Martha Gallardo. I love saying that with my new
you.
Spanish accent. Yeah.
Actually, I would just tell them to believe in themselves.
Yes.
That anything is possible when you believe in yourself, and anybody can do it.
Absolutely.
I mean, if I did it, 41 years old, and
then she looks about 20, everybody.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Anybody can do it. Like, no excuses.
No.
Done with the excuses and just do it.
Just do it. Yeah,
It'll happen.
I love that statement, because one thing, my manager can tell you, Janet, is one thing I always hate is excuses. If someone calls us to do something, if they want us to do it, we'll definitely do it. You want us to volunteer, we'll help you. But don't give us an excuse about anything.
Yes.
Just tell us the way it is, and then we'll handle it. But excuses are never good for the person giving the excuse or for the person hearing the excuse. It's just not good, not a good energy. So I thank you for that, Martha. What about yourself, Laura Morales? What are the things what are the, let's say, the top 2 things that you could tell someone to do to really maintain weight and to feel good about themselves?
I would say be consistent.
Yes.
Have a no matter what mindset.
Yes.
And surround yourself with people that are having the same goals as you, because it's hard, as you said in the beginning, to be in that party, to have that food around you. It is hard. And if you have people surrounding you, motivating you, and giving you positive feedback, even when you fall off, because we all do, we're all human.
We're human, exactly right.
So even when you fall off, you have that consistency. Fall and get up.
Yes.
Fall another time, get up again, but be consistent. Right. And as Micah said, drink a gallon of water a day. That's basically an amazing tip.
I love it. The other thing that you said, Laura, that I love, something that my dad would say, is you said surround yourself with positive people. He'd always say, Levi, show me your friends, and I'll tell you everything about yourself. And as a kid, I used to think, oh, what a stupid statement. But now, at 30 plus, I get it. I do think the circle of friends that we're, especially the close circle, they are really a representation of where we want to go, who we are, and what we're really about. On a spiritual level, a physical level, a mental level, those people tell us who we really are. So if you're around people that are loving and kind and giving and of service and have humbleness and humility, then you're that type of person. If you're around people that are always bitching, moaning, groaning, don't like anything, well, you gotta look at yourself. What does that tell us about ourselves? So I do think it's so important, Laura, that we do surround ourselves with people who are like-minded, who have that mastermind focus of, I want to make my life work. I want to lose the weight. I want to keep it off. And then I want to lose the weight, not simply to look beautiful. I want to lose the weight so I can give more, can be of greater service to my community, to my family, to my church, my synagogue, my temple. I want to be able to give back. You guys have done it. Micah, I want to really thank you for being here. Any closing words or thoughts about anything?
I just hope everybody tries this type of journey at some point in their life, because I heard a comedian say, just stop eating it. You know it tastes good. You know what it tastes like. You've had it before. Stop going through that dry food place. It's worth it. Just
this is true.
Give it a shot.
Love it. What about yourself, Martha?
I would just tell anybody, just do it. I mean, get started and just stay on track. Don't look back. It'll come off. The weight will come off. It just doesn't come off overnight, like the ladies say.
Exactly.
But
just do it.
Just do it. Love it, Martha. What about yourself, Laura Morales? What are your thoughts?
I say, like I said before, surround yourself with positive people, and make sure that you start by transforming your mind, because the weight will come off. You're consistent, but surround yourself with people that are going to change your mind.
Fantastic. Now, one last thing. Do you guys have any social media platforms where people can contact you and reach out? Is there any Facebook, Instagram, anything? Yourself,
I do.
Laura? What is that?
Instagram at fittroopers. At Fit Trippers is the handle.
Love that. And what about yourself, Martha?
I have Facebook, Martha Gallardo, and then I also have Instagram. And I think I'm under Martita G or something like that. But
He'll find
I think,
you.
yeah,
You'll
Martha
find
Gallardo, you could find me. You'll see
Perfect.
before and after picture.
Perfect. What about yourself, Micah?
I'm on Instagram at Mom of 3 Ps.
Oh, I like that. It's funny, Mom, 3 Ps. Well, I want to thank all of you phenomenal women for being with me today and being with our audience. It was a life changer, so thank you. Now, I want to remind everyone we'll be doing the Hour of Women Empowerment once a month, and I want to thank the 3 goddesses, these 3 beautiful muses that were with us today, encouraging us to be healthy, to be fit, and to lose weight and go on your own personal journey. You can do it. Believe in yourself, have determination. As Laura said, surround yourself with positive people. As Micah said, drink that water. And guess what? I believe in you. Well, this is Dr. Levi. Please sure to join me on all my social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of them. Twitch TV, the first Saturday of every month at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I want to thank our audience for being with us. And I want to remind you that, yes, you can do it too. Have faith in yourself. This is Dr. Levi. I'll see you guys back here next week. Have a great week. Be of service to your community. Bye.